Honorable President Donald Trump, honorable members of the Standing Committee of the Political Bureau of the CPC Central Committee, honorable members of the Political Bureau, Your Excellencies, Secretaries and Ministers, Ambassadors, ladies and gentlemen, the signing ceremony between the People's Republic of China and the United States of America now begins.
请习近平主席和特朗普总统一同见证签署15个文本。
15 documents will be signed under the joint witness of President Xi and President Trump.
第一组签署的4个文本是页岩气全产业链开发示范项目框架协议，金额837亿美元；煤间接液化项目投资合作协议，金额117亿美元；液化天然气长约购销谅解备忘录，金额110亿美元。 已完购销协议，金额260亿美元。
The first group of 4 documents, Strategic Cooperation Framework on Shale Gas Full Value Chain Development Demonstration Projects, with a value of $83.7 billion US, CTL Project Investment Cooperation Agreement with a value of $11.7 billion US, MOU on long-term LNG sale and purchase with a value of $11 billion US, and ethane sale and purchase agreement with a value of $26 billion US.
请神华集团总经理林文和西弗吉尼亚州州务卿斯拉舍，眼矿集团董事长李希勇和空气产品公司董事长葛思民，中石油总经理张建华和切尼尔能源公司首席执行官佛斯克，南山集团总裁程仁策。 和美国乙烷公司首席执行官贺泰林入座。
May I invite Secretary Woody Thrasher of the State of West Virginia and Dr. Lin Wen, General Manager of Shenhua Group, Mr. Saifola Gassami, Chairman of Air Products, and Mr. Li Xiyong, Chairman of Yenzhou Coal Mining Company, Mr. Jack Fusco, President and CEO of Cheniere Energy, and Mr. Zhang Jianhua, General Manager of China National Petroleum Corporation, and Mr. Zhang Hotailing, the second CEO of American Ethane Company, and Mr. Chen Rence, Chairman of Nanshan Group, to the signing table.
请他们分别签署以上几个文本。
The above-mentioned documents are being signed.
接下来签署的4个文本是：设立中美制造业合作基金谅解备忘录，金额50亿美元；飞机采购协议，金额370亿美元；大豆购销协议，金额16亿美元；芯片采购合同，金额40亿美元。
The second group of 4 documents, MOU for Strategic Cooperation on the Establishment of the China-US Industrial Cooperation Partnership with a value of $5 billion US, General Terms Agreement of Purchasing Boeing Aircraft with a value of $37 billion US, Soybean Purchase and Sales Agreement with a value of $1.6 billion US, and Chipset Procurement Agreement with a value of $4 billion US.
请中投公司总经理涂光绍和高盛集团首席执行官布兰克芬，中国航空器材集团董事长贾宝军和波音公司总裁麦克阿里斯特，中粮公司董事长赵双莲和 ADM 公司亚太区总裁陈东，小米公司董事长雷军和高通公司首席执行官莫伦科夫入座。
May I invite Mr. Lloyd Blankfein, CEO of Goldman Sachs, and Mr. Tu Guangshao, General Manager of China Investment Corporation, Mr. Kevin McAllister, President and CEO of Boeing Commercial Airplanes, and Mr. Jia Baojun, Chairman of China Aviation Supplies Holding Company, Mr. Donald Chen, President of ADM Asia Pacific, and Mr. Zhao Shuanglian, Chairman of COFCO, and Mr. Steve Mollenkopf, CEO of Qualcomm, and Mr. Lei Jun, Chairman of Xiaomi Corporation, to the signing table.
请他们分别签署以上几个文本。
The above-mentioned documents are being signed.
接下来签署的4个文本是：汽车和零部件进口采购合同备忘录，金额95亿美元；汽车和零部件进口合同，金额22亿美元；航空发动机采购框架协议，金额11亿美元；芯片采购合同，金额40亿美元。
The third group of 4 documents, vehicles and parts purchase and sales agreement with a value of $9.5 billion US dollars, vehicles and spare parts sales agreement with a value of $2.2 billion US dollars, aircraft engine procurement framework agreement with a value of $1.1 billion US dollars, and chipset procurement agreement with a value of $4 billion US dollars.
请福特中国公司董事长罗冠宏和福特集团副总裁傅里德，上汽通用公司总经理王永清和通用汽车公司副总裁钱惠康，工商银行董事长易会满和通用电气公司副董事长庄瑞思 ，OPPO 公司首席执行官陈明勇和高通公司首席执行官莫伦科夫入座。
May I invite Mr. Peter Fleet, Group Vice President of Ford Motor Company, and Mr. Luo Guanhong, Chairman of Ford China, Mr. Matt Tian, Executive Vice President of General Motors, and Mr. Wang Yongqing, President of Shanghai GM, Mr. John Rice, President and CEO of GE Global Growth Organization, and Mr. Yi Huiman, Chairman of ICBC, and Mr. Steve Mollenkopf, CEO of Qualcomm, and Mr. Chen Mingyong, CEO of Oppo, to the signing table.
请他们分别签署以上文本。
The above-mentioned documents are being signed.
最后签署的3个文本是：阿拉斯加液化天然气联合开发协议，金额430亿美元；航空发动机采购框架协议，金额14亿美元；芯片采购合同，金额40亿美元。
The last group of 3 documents, Joint Development Agreement for Alaska LNG with a value of $43 billion US dollars, Aircraft Engine Procurement Framework Agreement with a value of $1.4 billion US dollars, and Chipset Procurement Agreement with a value of $4 billion US dollars.
请中石化总经理戴厚良、中国银行董事长陈四清、中投公司董事长涂光绍和阿拉斯加州州长沃克、阿拉斯加天然气公司总裁麦耶、君瑶集团董事长王军金和通用电气公司副董事长庄瑞思、vivo 公司首席执行官沈伟和高通公司首席执行官莫伦科夫入座。
May I invite Mr. Bill Walker, Governor of Alaska, Mr. Keith Mayer, President of Alaska Gasoline Development Corporation, and Mr. Tu Shuangshao, General Manager of CIC, Mr. Chen Siqing, Chairman of Bank of China, Mr. Dai Holiang, Chairman of Sinopec, Mr. John Rice, President and CEO of GE Global Growth Organization, and Mr. Wang Junjing, Chairman of Junyao Airlines, and Mr. Steve Mollenkopf, CEO of Qualcomm, and Mr. Sheng Wei, CEO of Vivo, to the signing table.
请他们分别签署以上文本。
The above-mentioned documents are being signed.
签字仪式到此结束，谢谢习近平主席，谢谢特朗普总统，谢谢大家。
The signing ceremony now concludes. Thank you, President Xi Jinping. Thank you, President Trump. Thank you, all the distinguished guests.
接下来的环节，请中国商务部部长钟山主持。
Let me now hand over the chair to Mr. Zhong Shan, Minister of Commerce of the People's Republic of China.
尊敬的习近平主席，尊敬的特朗普总统，尊敬的各位企业家，尊敬的女士们、先生们，习近平主席和特朗普总统亲自出席中美企业家的对话会，并见证了签约的仪式，充分体现了两国元首对加强中美经贸合作的高度重视。
Your Excellency President Xi Jinping, Honorable President Donald Trump, business leaders, ladies and gentlemen, we are very honored to have with us President Xi and President Trump at the U.S.-China Business Exchange and the signing ceremony. Their presence shows the great attention they attach to the commercial relations between our two countries.
让我们以热烈的掌声感谢两位元首。
So please join me in thanking them in a round of very warm applause. 在两国元首的正确引领下，这2天，两国企业创造了奇迹。经贸合作的金额达到了2535亿美元，这既创造了中美经贸合作的纪录，也刷新了世界经贸合作史上的新纪录。With the valuable guidance of the two presidents, in the past 2 days, Chinese and American business leaders have made a miracle by agreeing on a total of $253.4 billion worth of cooperation deals. This is truly a miracle, not only in the history of China-US business relations, but also in the history of the whole world.
这充分说明，合作是中美关系发展的唯一正确的选择，互利共赢，符合中美两国的共同利益。
This fully indicates that cooperation for win-win results is the only correct option for growing our relations, and cooperation serves the common interests of both countries.
下面，请大家欢迎特朗普总统致辞。
Now, please welcome Mr. Donald Trump, President of the United States of America.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And thank you, Minister Zhong Shan, for that introduction, and especially thank you to President Xi and Madame Peng for serving as such warm and gracious hosts to Melania and me during our time here in your very, very beautiful country. To both the American delegation and to the Chinese business representatives here, your discussions greatly strengthen our partnership and provides a critical bridge between our business community and yours, and thank you for that. During my time in Beijing, President Xi and I have had several conversations about our common goals and interests. Beyond that, we talk often. There's a very good chemistry between the two of us, believe me. My administration is committed to improving our trade and business relationships with China. And this relationship is something which we are working very hard to make a fair and a reciprocal one. trade between China and the United States has not been, over the last many, many years, a very fair one for us. As we all know, America has a huge annual trade deficit with China, a number beyond anything what anybody would understand. This number is shockingly hundreds of billions of dollars each year. Estimates are as high as $500 billion a year. We must immediately address the unfair trade practices that drive this deficit, along with barriers to market success. We really have to look at access, forced technology transfer, and the theft of intellectual property, which just by and of itself is costing the United States and its companies at least $300 billion a year. Both the United States and China will have a more prosperous future if we can achieve a level economic playing field. Right now, unfortunately, it is a very one-sided and unfair one. But I don't blame China. After all, who can blame a country for being able to take advantage of another country for the benefit of its citizens? I give China great credit. But in actuality, I do blame past administrations for allowing this out-of-control trade deficit to take place and to grow. We have to fix this because it just doesn't work for our great American companies, and it doesn't work for our great American workers. It is just not sustainable. I look forward to working toward that goal and to pursuing fair and lasting engagement. At home, my administration is supporting American workers and American businesses by eliminating burdensome regulations and lifting restrictions on American energy and all other businesses. Restrictions are being seriously lifted. Our work is already taking hold. The stock market in the United States is at an all-time high, adding already $5.5 trillion in new wealth since the very, very well-known and now very important November 8th election. Unemployment is at a 17-year low, and so many other great things are happening to the United States, economically and otherwise, frankly, too many to mention. Abroad, we're committed to a free and open Indo-Pacific-based respect for the rule of law, private enterprise, and trade reciprocity. In order to achieve prosperity, we must also have security. Security cooperation is critical to addressing a range of emerging threats throughout the Indo-Pacific region and around the world, and I have been very encouraged by my conversations, both over the last number of weeks and in particular last night and this morning with President Xi. We're very, very much on the same plane when it comes to security. We both want it for our countries, and we both want it for the world. Chief among these threats is the North Korean nuclear menace. As I stated in my address to the National Assembly in Seoul yesterday, the United States is committed to the complete and permanent denuclearization of North Korea. So important. China can fix this problem easily and quickly, and I am calling on China and your great president to hopefully work on it very hard. I know one thing about your president. If he works on it hard, it will happen. There's no doubt about it. They know. We call on all nations to implement UN Security Council sanctions and resolutions and to cease doing business with the North Korean regime. All nations must come together to ensure that this rogue regime cannot threaten the world with its nuclear weapons. I thank President Xi for his recent efforts to restrict trade with North Korea and to cut off all banking ties. Mr. President, thank you, and thank you to all of the Chinese business leaders here today for standing with the United States and our coalition of responsible nations. But time is quickly running out. We must act fast, and hopefully China will act faster and more effectively on this problem than anyone. I'm also calling on Russia to help rein in this potentially very tragic situation. The contributions of the business community represented here today are vital to our efforts to ensure peace and prosperity for our two nations. Together we can unlock a future of opportunity, wealth, and dignity far beyond anybody's wildest dreams. In your discussions today, I hope you will learn from each other and identify new ways to advance our economic cooperation. I am depending on all of you to work together to find opportunities of mutual agreement and shared prosperity. The hardworking people of America and the hardworking people of China deserve the very best solutions to achieve prosperity, happiness, and peace. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
谢谢特朗普总统。下面请大家欢迎习近平主席致辞。
Thank you, President Trump. And now please welcome Mr. Xi Jinping, President of the People's Republic of China.
The Honorable President Trump, Chinese and American business representatives, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends. It is my real pleasure to have President Trump with us today for this China-US business exchange. Over the years, the business communities of our two countries have been committed to the friendship between our two nations. You are a strong driving force for economic cooperation and overall relations between our two countries. Your commitments and your contribution are highly appreciated. This year marks the 45th anniversary of the Shanghai Communique. Over the past 45 years, China-US economic relations and trade ties have achieved historic development, delivering great benefits to our two peoples. Last year, the General Motors, Ford, and Fiat Chrysler, the three U.S. automakers, manufactured and sold over 5 million vehicles in China. The number was bigger than their combined sales in other parts of the world. The Chinese investment in the United States is also rising rapidly and has created over 140,000 jobs directly for the local communities in the United States. During President Trump's visit this time, as we have witnessed right now, our companies will sign commercial contracts and two-way investment agreements worth over $250 billion. These are great examples of the vast potential and win-win nature of China-US economic cooperation. The Honorable President Trump, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, you must be interested in the Chinese economy and China-US economic relations. Let me share with you my following thoughts in this regard. First, the Chinese economy enjoys bright prospects. The Chinese economy is now shifting from the stage of high-speed growth to one of high-quality growth. The first 3 quarters of this year have seen our GDP growing by 6.9%. But more important thing is, the structure of the Chinese economy is being upgraded. Going forward, the Chinese economy has the foundation, the right conditions, and the momentum for continued growth. China has a big population, and the dividends of population will continue to be released. We have a prospering market, and we have rich sources of economic growth. During this year, the IMF has revised up its forecast about the Chinese economy for a number of times. This reflects its optimism in the Chinese economy. Second, China is unswervingly committed to reform and opening up. Reform and opening up are critical to China's development. We will further deepen the supply-side structural reform and introduce strong and concrete measures of reform in market, fiscal and taxation, financial investment and financing areas, and related to the state-owned enterprises. We will take big strides in comprehensively deepening reform. Opening up is China's basic state policy. China will not close its door of opening up and will open it even wider. We will act on the blueprint laid out by the 19th Party Congress of the CPC, break new grounds in opening up on all fronts. Foreign companies in China, including the American companies, will find the business environment here more open, more transparent, and more orderly. Third, China-US business cooperation has vast potential. As the biggest developing and developed country, China and the United States have much more areas for economic cooperation rather than competition. It is estimated that in the coming 5 years, China will import $8 trillion of goods. Chinese citizens will take 700 million overseas travels. These mean vast potential for economic cooperation between our two countries. China is willing to expand its imports of LNG, crude oil, and petroleum products and other energy products from the United States. We will also explore the potential of U.S. exports of beef, cotton, and other agricultural products to China. We will also deepen cooperation on service trade, including in the areas of tourism, movie, and education, while we also hope the U.S. will further ease its export control on civilian technologies and products to China. We will continue to encourage Chinese companies to invest in the United States and also welcome active participation of American companies and financial institutions in the Belt and Road projects. With our economic relations expanding rapidly, it is natural that we may have differences from time to time. The important thing is we act in the spirit of mutual benefit and mutual understanding and seek proper settlement through dialogue and consultation. A Chinese philosopher once observed that trading can generate friendship and mutual benefit. Looking ahead, I have full confidence that with joint efforts of you, the business representatives present here today, and the business communities of our two countries, China-US economic relations will achieve greater success on the basis of equality and mutual benefit, and our two peoples will gain increasing benefits along this process. Thank you.
谢谢习主席。现在，我宣布中美企业家对话会 到此结束，请大家起立鼓掌，先欢送习主席和特朗普总统离场。
Thank you very much, President Xi Jinping. The U.S.-China Business Exchange now concludes. Please rise for the departure of the two presidents.